What's up, folks? We are back. It's Thursday night, and of course that means Grapple Pro is on the air. Big Sean Kramer's Wheels with a Z.
With a Z, baby. Back Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday nights are the place to be, especially when Grapple Pro hits the air at 7:30. And this week on Thursday night, we've got a debut, a big debut. Laylah James making her first appearance in a Grapple Pro ring.
Up against a tough opponent, too. Mr. Fancy himself.
Speaking of Mr. Fancy, there he is, looking fancy as always, coming through to your TV screens. The most fancy man in Grapple Pro, to say the least, right?
Yeah, go ask John Tiger.
I heard John Tiger's been taking fancy lessons from him and may have gotten stuff in the fancy rooms.
One would not say John Tiger is fancy, though.
He's working on it. You got to give the man credit, but nevertheless, it's time for Mr. Fancy and Laylah James. And if I was lucky, maybe somebody would lose you in the fancy verse wheels.
Cut it out. One of the most fanciest people out there, Kramer's. Yeah, Karen calling it down the middle right here. I feel bad for her getting stuck in the middle of this here.
Yeah, this is a situation that is going to explode very quickly, and the bell has sounded. We are underway. And tonight's action, of course, brought to you by the best in personal injury, Dolce Panepinto attorneys at law, and the best in pizza, Carbone's Pizza. If you need help in either of those areas, those are the folks to call. Again, that's Dolce Panepinto attorneys at law and Carbone's Pizza. And I'll tell you what, Laylah James is serious right out of the gate, Wheels.
Absolutely. Oh.
That's a slap.
Yeah, what do the five fingers say to the face?
Well, Mr. Fancy said it right back, and that word you asked for, of course, is slap. There we go, collar and elbow tie up in the center of the ring, and now that we've got past that initial slapping, it's time for that feeling out process. And oh man, what a forearm shiver right to the mouth of Fancy, but he hangs on. And again, my goodness, knocking the man's head sideways, Wheels.
There's a lot to prove with Laylah James here.
Yeah, she wants to prove that she belongs in Grapple Pro, and what better way to do it than to defeat somebody the likes of Mr. Fancy, who's been on maybe the most meteoric rise of all the Grapple Pro talent. Look at that, Wheels.
That was fancy.
How many Y's?
One. Do you not know how to spell?
Mr. Fancy is spelled with 2 Y's.
Is it? Because
are you saying that Mr. Fancy doesn't know how to spell?
Kramer's, you might need new glasses there, buddy.
I don't know about that, but oh man, what a boot right to the bread basket from Laylah James. And now Mr. Fancy in trouble as Laylah James starts to get some offense laid in there. Disrespect is the only dish being served up by Laylah this evening.
I'm seeing 1 Y, by the way.
Yeah, maybe on the trunks. That's because they couldn't fit the second one, Wheels.
You got something to say about everything, Kramer's. Here we go into the corner. Head first goes Fancy to the turnbuckle.
Yeah, right now Mr. Fancy in a world of hurt, being beaten from pillar to post by Laylah James. And like you said, you can see that she's got something to prove. Oh, what a forearm shiver from Fancy, answering right back. But these shots from Laylah James, my goodness. Mr. Fancy trying to get the upper hand. Hammering away on Laylah James.
Going back and forth like a seesaw here.
Well, look at the power of Laylah James just getting rid of Mr. Fancy like it was literally nothing, Wheels. My goodness.
Shaking Fancy off like a mosquito.
Oh, and a massive clothesline delivered by Laylah James.
Oh, for the cover. This could do it here early on.
Oh, just 2. Still life in Mr. Fancy. Well, Laylah James looking to remove whatever life is left.
Karen right there asking Fancy if he's going to quit. He is not, though.
No, Mr. Fancy does not have a single quitting bone in his entire body. He's proven that time and time again here in Grapple Pro, and tonight will not be an exception.
Trying to reel himself.
Shots to the midsection.
Just getting thrown right down like a rag doll, though, by Laylah James.
Yeah, Wheels, I'm not going to lie. The strength of Laylah James has been extremely impressive this entire contest, and Mr. Fancy's paying harshly for maybe underestimating Laylah James a little bit. Let's see, though. She's got him up right now, and you know what's next. It cannot be good. Big sidewalk slam right in the center of the ring. And Laylah James says, this is it. Let's see.
Only good for 2, though. Laylah James better watch it because Karen will not take that and will disqualify her quick as a hiccup.
Absolutely, Karen is in charge of all the action here at Grapple Pro, and she refuses to receive anything but respect. My goodness, no respect being paid to Mr. Fancyy. These forearm shivers from Laylah James are something to see. Out of steam, big splash, down goes Mr. Fancyy. Laylah James in complete control right now, hook of the leg, trying to put this thing away. Not yet, still just 2 wheels.
What has she got? Just 2.
That's it. Full Nelson locked in right now. Mr. Fancyy in trouble on the canvas. Got to break free. All the torque on the shoulders and the neck from the powerful Laylah James. Big back elbows here delivered by Fancyy. Trying to break free, but not yet.
Oh, no. This is not where you want to be if you're Mr. Fancyy.
Oh, no.
Going up for a ride.
Laylah James got him set right now for the widow's peak. Let's see. Oh, right into the buckle. Beautiful swinging neck breaker. Laylah James in total control. Upset City right now. No, not quite yet, Wheels. What's Mr. Fancyy got to do to get back in this thing?
Oh, Karen better get in the middle of this.
Yeah, blatant stroke right in front of our official Karen, and of course she's not standing for it. Got to give her credit for standing up to Laylah James. Big uppercut. Mr. Fancyy continuing to be reeling here. Irish whip. Oh, wait a minute. Fancyy reverses. Up and over goes Laylah. Oh, wait a minute. Leg got caught. Maybe it's enough for Mr. Fancyy. Yes! That leg getting caught made him get that advantage, and Mr. Fancyy looking to move it forward. Oh, big knees right to the chest. Down goes Laylah James, and now it's time. Mr. Fancyy going to take a chance, Wheels.
Heading up to the high rent district. Oh, caught though by Laylah James.
Once again, the impressive power of Laylah James. Mr. Fancyy too fast. Oh, wait a minute. Roll up.
2. Good for 2.
Shot to the midsection by Fancyy. Fancyy off the ropes. Oh, and there it is. Scissor kick right to the back of the skull. And a kip up afterwards. Mr. Fancyy on fire.
He is reeling here.
Handspring. And a standing moonsault. Spectacular athleticism. That's got to do it. No, not yet. Just when you think this thing is over, Laylah James keeps it going. Now Mr. Fancy's got to stay on James and put this thing away, but maybe he took too long. Oh, there's another slap.
With disrespect, what it does to somebody's ego as well as the pain meter there with a big-time slap like that.
Yeah, the pain meter's got to be up around 10 with that size of a hand crashing across your face. Laylah James, oh my, Mr. Fancyy. That's got to dislocate the shoulder almost. Laylah James absolutely dominant here on Thursday night.
The tables have turned here. Laylah James looking to put away Mr. Fancyy. What goes up must come down, Kramars. And that's what Mr. Fancy's about to do.
Oh, you were wrong. Holding on is Mr. Fancyy, but the power of Laylah James, my goodness.
The momentum sent Laylah James flying.
Laylah trying to fight back right now, shoving off Mr. Fancyy. Oh, boot right to the mouth. Now Fancy's going to take another chance. Let's see if this one works. There it is. Oh! Too smart was Laylah James, Wheels.
Oh, running knee right to the mouth of Mr. Fancyy.
That's going to do it for sure. No!
You better count his teeth there with that big-time shot by Laylah James.
I'm pretty sure a chicklet or two went flying into the audience. My goodness, what a shot from Laylah James, but nevertheless, not enough to end Mr. Fancy's day.
Hope he has a dentist on speed dial after this match here.
Yeah, he's going to need one for sure, and Laylah James continuing the assault. How much more can Mr. Fancyy take in this contest? Laylah James impressive in her Grapple Pro debut.
Big time impressive for sure. I mean, taking Mr. Fancyy out of his element here, he just has him reeling.
Yeah, for sure.
She has the momentum right here. One move away from putting Mr. Fancyy down in his hometown here in Lackawanna, New York.
Absolutely, we are so close to living in upset city right here on Thursday night.
Oh.
Not good for the old tailbone. Oh, and a shot from Laylah James. Once again, hooking a leg. This one's got to do it. Oh, still just two. Still just two.
Going back at it. One that time.
Laylah's got to be real careful here about the frustration. You can't let the frustration get the best of you. Mr. Fancyy will take advantage immediately.
Oh, broken nail on Laylah James.
That's to be expected when you're in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, one would say, Kramars, one would say.
Mr. Fancyy slipping out just in the nick of time. Shot to the midsection. There it is! Fancy Buster!
Hook of the leg there. Good
That's
night.
It. What a win for Mr. Fancyy.
Thanks for stopping by, Laylah James. But Mr. Fancyy, your winner on Thursday night here for Grapple Pro.
Yeah, and a big one to say the least. Mr. Fancyy pulling it out just when you thought he was done. You were wrong. Mr. Fancyy is your winner. And let's take another look, courtesy of Genesis Gaming and Hobby.
What would you call that, Kramars? The Fancy Buster?
That's the Fancy Buster, and it busted Laylah James. That was good for the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Good night. And good night to everybody that came and tuned in this Thursday night. We will see you Monday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I am Wheels with a Z. Right next to me is the Big Chrome Dome. Big Sean Kramars. Catch you next week.
Daddy, yeah.